Have you heard about invasive alien species?
Invasive alien species? No, what is that?
For your information, invasive species is an introduced non-native organism such as parasite, plant, or animal that begins to spread or expand its range from the site of its original introduction.
Oh, really? Is it dangerous to us humans?
Yes, of course. They can be dangerous. They have the potential to cause harm to the environment, the economy, or human health.
So, do we have this kind of cases in Malaysia?
Yes, there is a lot of type invasive species in Malaysia, but the most damaging invasive species is golden apple snail, candy cane, shoe button ardisia, malaria mosquito, yellow crazy ant, and Asian tiger mosquito.
Oh, I see. So, how can they affect us?
For example, the damage caused by the golden apple snail can totally devastate the rice crops depending on the size and density of the snail.
So what can we do to control it?
One of the ways to control it by monitoring the invasive species. There are several ways to do it. For example, first, clean your hiking and fishing gear. Second, don't move firewood. Third, fishing using native bait when possible. Fourth, volunteer at removal effort.
But Ilya, why do we need to monitor invasive alien species?
Because without the monitoring and removal of these invasive species, habitat will become single species invasive habitats, providing little resource value to native wildlife populations. Wilderness areas are places untamed by humans.
So what do you think the public can do to monitor the invasive alien species, especially in Malaysia?
Answer is easy. By monitoring the invasive species in an area, the public can report to the authorities if the population abundance reaches an alarming level.
Wait, what will happen if we do not call the authorities? Will the place become a forest?
No, silly. If the public did not do their role in monitoring, there might be a probability that the ecosystem in the area will be affected, including the native species.
Oh, I know. For example, at this lake, the water lily is one of the invasive species. Some of the impact they can cause are completely covering lake, displacing native aquatic life form, lowering oxygen level for fish, and providing ideal habitat and the perfect environment for mosquito that spread disease.
That is true, Haikal. Do you agree, Afifi?
Yes, Putri, I agree with that. And some of the methods that we can use to monitor these species are by using trail monitoring and also rate of propagation of the floating plants. I will let Alvin to explain how these two methods that can be done by our own community.
Yes, Afifi. So, for the first one, which is trail monitoring, it's very simple. Volunteers will be assigned to hike specific trails such as undisturbed vegetation patch or newly established plants. Volunteers will record the location of new growing plants so that they can find the root source of the invasion.
Wow, that is a fun activity. Hiking and also monitoring the invasive plants. What do you think about the second method, which is the rate of propagation of the floating plants?
So for that one, volunteers will become a citizen scientist and do the monitoring by tagging an individual plantlet early in the season. The numbers of plantlet produced by the end of the season when first frost arrive or by a specific date will give an idea of the vegetative reproductive capacity of an overwintering bud.
Oh, I see. That is quite easy too to be done by the community. At least they will feel accomplished by helping in monitoring the invasive species in that area.
Now, let's discuss some of the advantages that can result from public monitoring of invasive species. One of them is the ability to establish the presence and abundance of native and invasive species in certain locations through monitoring. Additionally, it can lessen the negative effects on the environmental and the economy while also preventing the spread of new alien species and the destruction of native populations. Last but not least, as more people are involved in collecting, identification information and reporting on the species in question and monitoring their invasiveness in important places, more people are becoming more aware of local species.
In a nutshell, we as public can report to the authorities when the invasive species population has increased drastically. We also can trail monitoring and rate of propagation of floating plants, which is here seen invasive plant in this video. Together, we can protect our native species and ecosystem by be part in monitoring invasive alien species in Malaysia.
Ra!